Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I invite you on a journey into the world of Norse mythology, a realm filled with gods and giants, worlds upon worlds, mysteries, prophecies, and the slow unfolding of destinies that were always moving toward the inevitable twilight of creation. Though Norse myths are often filled with battles, storms, and fierce gods, they can also be told in a way that drifts like the steady sound of a river, with rhythm and calm, until your eyes grow heavy and the stories settle softly into your dreams. So let me take you to the beginning of all things, where the story of Norse mythology begins, and let us slowly walk through the entire tale. In the beginning, before the gods, before men, before even the soil of the earth was formed, there was only the yawning void, a great emptiness called Ginnungagap. It stretched endlessly, neither light nor dark, neither hot nor cold, simply a vast silence waiting to be filled. On one side of Ginnungagap lay the icy wastes of Niflheim, a land of eternal frost, swirling mist, and frozen rivers. On the other side was Muspelheim, a land of blazing fire, glowing with unbearable heat. Where the icy breath of Niflheim met the flames of Muspelheim, there was a great seething, and out of this clash of opposites, creation began. From the melting ice came drops of water, and from those drops, life emerged. The first being was Ymir, the great giant, whose body was vast and whose hunger was endless. As he slept, strange things happened. From his sweat sprang other giants, children born from the giant's very body. Alongside Ymir, the cow Audumla also came into being, licking the salty ice to feed herself. From her milk, rivers flowed to nourish Ymir, but her licking also revealed something hidden in the frozen blocks. Slowly, as she licked, a shape appeared, a man, tall and noble. This was Buri, the ancestor of the gods. From Buri's line came Bor, and from Bor came three sons who would change everything: Odin, Vili, and Ve. These were the first of the gods, and they saw that Ymir, the great giant, was too dangerous to live. So, they rose against him, and with mighty force they slew him. From his body, the world was made, his blood became the oceans, his flesh became the earth, his bones turned into mountains, and his skull was raised up as the dome of the heavens. From his eyebrows, they built Midgard, the world of men, a place of safety against the giants who still wandered the outer lands. The gods looked at their creation and saw that it was vast but empty. So Odin, Vili, and Ve walked along the shore one day and found two pieces of driftwood. From these simple logs, they shaped the first humans. Odin gave them breath and life, Vili gave them thought and movement, and Ve gave them speech and senses. The man was named Ask, the woman Embla, and from them came all humankind. They were placed in Midgard, sheltered within Ymir's brow, while above them the stars were set into the sky, made from sparks that flew out of Muspelheim. Around this world, other realms took shape. There was Asgard, the shining home of the gods, linked to Midgard by the great rainbow bridge Bifrost. There was Vanaheim, the land of the Vanir gods, who were connected with nature and fertility. Alfheim was the realm of the light elves, beautiful and radiant, while Svartalheim lay beneath the ground, filled with dwarves who worked tirelessly at their forges, creating weapons and treasures of great power. Jotunheim was the land of giants, forever at odds with the gods. Niflheim and Muspelheim still lay at the edges, the one freezing, the other blazing, and Helheim, ruled by Hel, daughter of Loki, was the place where the dead dwelled in shadow. Odin, the eldest of the gods, became their chief, a seeker of wisdom. Always searching for knowledge. His eye, though, was not spared in this pursuit. When he sought the wisdom of Mimir's well, a place where the waters carried the knowledge of all that had been and all that would be, he gave one of his eyes as payment. He drank deeply of the water and carried that wisdom within him ever after. But even that was not enough. Odin also hung himself upon the great world tree, Yggdrasil, which rose up at the center of all things and bound the 9 realms together. For 9 days and 9 nights, he hung there, pierced by his own spear, without food or drink, until at last the runes of power revealed themselves to him. Thus he gained the magic of words, the secret spells and songs that gave him mastery over life, death, and fate itself. The gods of Asgard grew strong, yet their lives were not without strife. The Aesir, Odin's kin, clashed with the Vanir, the other family of gods. For a time, war raged between them, but in the end, they made peace, exchanging hostages to bind the truce. One of these was Njord, a Vanir god of the sea, whose children, Frey and Freya, became honored among the Aesir. Freya especially was beloved, the goddess of love and beauty, who wept tears of gold and rode in a chariot pulled by cats. But there was also Loki, the trickster, born of giants but counted among the gods. He was clever and charming, yet mischievous and untrustworthy. At times, he saved the gods with his cunning, as when he helped them build their walls around Asgard, or when he tricked a dwarf into giving up treasures such as Thor's mighty hammer, Mjolnir. Yet at other times, his mischief brought disaster, and the gods grew wary of his shifting loyalties. Thor, the thunder god, was the great protector of gods and men, wielding Mjolnir to strike down giants and trolls. He was strong, fierce, but not always wise. His journeys across the realms filled many stories, from his duel with the Midgard serpent, Jormungandr, to his visit to the land of giants where he was tricked into contests that no god could win. Always, Thor returned, swinging his hammer and roaring his thunder, the defender of Asgard and Midgard alike. Yet shadows gathered in these myths. For Norse mythology was never only about beginnings and heroes. It always moved toward an ending, the doom called Ragnarok, when the gods themselves would fall, and the worlds would be swept away in fire and flood. The signs of Ragnarok were foretold. The bonds of fate were already set when Loki fathered 3 monstrous children: Fenrir, the great wolf whose jaws could swallow the world; Jormungandr, the serpent so vast it circled Midgard entirely; and Hel, the half-dead goddess who ruled the underworld. The gods tried to contain these children. They bound Fenrir with magical chains, though he bit off the hand of Tyr, the brave god of war. They cast Jormungandr into the sea, where he grew until his body encircled the earth. They sent Hel down into the cold land of the dead, where she made her hall. But the prophecies could not be escaped. One day, Fenrir would break free, Jormungandr would rise from the sea, and Hel would lead the dead in battle. The myths tell of Baldr, the shining god, fairest and most beloved of all the Aesir. His mother, Frigg, sought to protect him by asking every being, every object in creation, to swear never to harm him. Yet she overlooked the humble mistletoe, thinking it too small to matter. Loki discovered this and fashioned a dart of mistletoe, giving it to Baldr's blind brother Hodr, who threw it in play. It struck Baldr, and he fell dead. The gods wept bitterly. They tried to ransom him from Hel, but Loki interfered, and Baldr remained in the underworld until the end of days. This was the first great sorrow of the gods and the first step toward their doom. When Ragnarok comes, the myths say, there will be 3 winters without summer, endless cold and darkness. Brothers will turn against brothers, and the world will be filled with strife. The wolf's skull will devour the sun, and his brother Hati will swallow the moon, plunging the world into shadow. The earth will shake, mountains will crumble, and the great tree Yggdrasil will tremble. The seas will boil as Jormungandr rises, spraying venom across the land. Fenrir will break free of his chains, his jaws gaping wide enough to swallow the sun. Loki himself, unbound, will lead the giants and the dead against the gods. It will be the final battle. Thor will face Jormungandr, striking the serpent down with his hammer, but he will take only 9 steps before the venom fells him. Odin will meet Fenrir, but the wolf will swallow him whole. Odin's son Vidar will avenge him, tearing apart the wolf with his mighty strength. Loki and Heimdall, the watchmen of the gods, will slay each other. Fire will consume the world as Surtur, the fire giant of Muspelheim, casts his flames across creation. The earth will sink beneath the sea. Yet even in this ending, there is a quiet promise of renewal. From the waters, the earth will rise again, green and fresh. A new sun will be born to replace the old. Baldr will return from Hel, shining and whole. 2 humans, Leif and Lifthrasir, will survive by hiding in the branches of Yggdrasil, and from them humankind will begin again. The cycle of death and rebirth will continue, for such is the way of the Norse myths. And so, the story drifts to its close. From the void of Ginnungagap to the fiery twilight of Ragnarok and beyond, Norse mythology tells not only of gods and monsters, but of beginnings and endings, of wisdom and folly, of light and shadow. It is a tale that moves like the seasons, carrying within it the certainty of change, and the gentle reassurance that even in destruction, there is the seed of renewal. Let these ancient voices settle softly in your mind, as you rest, and may they carry you gently into sleep, where dreams weave stories of their own.